You were once a completely different person. You laughed, you cried, you learned the sound of your mother's voice before you ever learned a single word. And yet, none of it survives. Not one memory, not one moment. Where did it all go? Think about the first 5 years of your life. You learned to walk. You learned to speak an entire language from scratch. You felt joy and fear and hunger in ways that shaped the rest of your existence. But ask yourself to recall any of it directly, and you'll find nothing. A blank wall. Psychologists call this infantile amnesia, and it is one of the strangest blind spots in the human mind. Here's the part that should stop you. It isn't that your brain failed to record those years. It's that it was building something else entirely. Something that had nothing to do with memory and everything to do with survival. Your earliest years are not wasted time. They are construction time. Your brain, fresh out of the womb, is wiring nearly 1 million new neural connections every second. Every second. That number sounds impossible because it almost is. No other period of your life will ever come close to that rate of growth. Your brain is not sitting still and filming your childhood like a camera. It's pouring almost all of its resources into building the equipment that will let you film everything that comes after. This is where the hippocampus comes in. It's the part of your brain responsible for stitching together the moments of your life into something you can later recall, a kind of internal filing system for experience. In infancy, that system is still under construction. The wiring isn't finished. The shelves aren't built yet. So even though you were absorbing the world around you constantly, there was nowhere stable to file it for long-term storage. Researcher Carole Peterson at Memorial University of Newfoundland has spent decades studying how children's memories form and then quietly dissolve. Her work found that children as young as 3 can recall detailed events from their recent past with surprising accuracy, but return to those same children years later, and most of those early memories have vanished completely, replaced by nothing. Not distorted, not blurred, simply gone, as if the file was deleted rather than misplaced. Why would your own brain delete its own data? This is where it gets stranger. A study led by neuroscientist Paul Frankland at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto found something that seems almost contradictory. The very speed at which your infant brain was generating new neurons may have actively worked against memory formation, not for it. This process is called neurogenesis, and in early life, it happens at a blistering pace. New neurons were being born and inserted into existing circuits so rapidly that they may have overwritten or destabilized the very networks responsible for holding on to early memories. Your brain wasn't failing to remember. It was sacrificing memory for growth. Picture a city being built, steel beams going up, roads being laid, workers everywhere, day and night. Now imagine trying to keep a permanent photo album of the city while it's still being built, while the streets are still being paved over and rerouted. Anything you photographed yesterday might not even exist in the same place today. That was your brain in infancy, constantly under construction, constantly rerouting. There was no stable city yet, just scaffolding. And here's where the story takes its strangest turn. Some researchers believe those early experiences didn't disappear without a trace. They believe the experiences shaped you anyway, just not in a form you can consciously access. This is the difference between explicit memory and implicit memory. Explicit memory is what you usually think of as memory, the kind you can describe in words. What you had for breakfast, your 10th birthday party. Implicit memory is different. It's the kind that shapes your reflexes, your instincts, your emotional responses without ever surfacing as a conscious recollection. You don't remember learning to feel safe in your mother's arms, but the patterns built during that time may still be quietly running in the background of every relationship you form as an adult. Developmental psychologist Patricia Bauer at Emory University has shown that toddlers can demonstrate memory for specific events through their behavior, long before they can verbally describe those events. A child might react to a place or a sound in a way that reveals recognition, even while having no conscious story to tell about why. The memory is there. It's just locked behind a door with no handle. So that vanished period of your life isn't actually empty. It's foundational. It's the bedrock your entire personality was poured onto, even though you can't see the bedrock itself anymore. You only see the building that stands on top of it. This raises an uncomfortable question. If so much of who you are was shaped by experiences you can't consciously recall, how much of your present life is actually being directed by a version of you that no longer has a voice? Consider how you react to sudden loud noises, or to being left alone in an unfamiliar place, or to a particular tone of voice. Some of those reactions trace back further than any memory you can name. They were built in the years your brain was too busy constructing itself to keep a record. You're not just living with the person you remember becoming. You're living with the residue of a person you'll never get to meet again. There is something almost humbling in that. You spend your whole life believing your identity is built from the stories you can tell about yourself, the moments you remember, the lessons you can point to. But the truth is messier and older than that. The deepest layer of who you are was laid down in total silence, in a period your conscious mind was never invited into. Tonight, when you flinch at something for no clear reason, or feel inexplicably calm in a stranger's presence, you won't think of it as a memory. You'll just call it instinct, or feeling, or chemistry. But somewhere underneath that reaction is a moment you lived through and can never recover, still quietly steering you forward. You were once a completely different person. You still are.